Una volta che avrai spiccato il volo deciderai, sguardo verso il ciel saprai, lia quasi il cuore sentirai. Apologies to all you Italian speakers out there, my pronunciation is terrible. That's the poetic translation of the original Da Vinci quote as done by my friend Chiara Cortez, who's an amazing singer in her own right. Those words translate to, once you have taken flight, you'll decide, gaze towards the sky, and you'll know that is where your heart will feel at home. Sometimes people ask me, how does one start writing a piece of music for a video game? Well, in the case of the Civilization games, and my themes in particular, the developers of the game send me some screenshots of the game as it's being developed. So in the case of Civilization 6, they didn't have much that they had completed by the time I was brought on board. It was really just a static image of the opening menu screen, right? But that was enough to get my imagination going. Right away, I knew that I wanted to write a piece that was about exploration. Not just physical exploration, i.e. exploring new lands, but also intellectual exploration, right? The sciences and the humanities and art and literature and poetry and all these wonderful cultural things that are very inspiring to me. So I stumbled across this idea of using the original Leonardo da Vinci quote that actually makes a surprise appearance in the Civilization games. When you discover flight for your civilization, that quote is read to you. And I decided to take those words, have them translated into modern Italian, and then use those as the lyrics for Sogno di Volare. It goes through several transformations across the album. So, for example, at the end of the Zeppelin movement, after the Hindenburg has crashed, and we needed to sort of summon us back to life in a way. It sounds different. It goes. So it ends with like an open-ended sort of feel to it. And then at the beginning of the Zeppelin movement, which is very sort of minor and dark and militaristic, it goes. Very, very tense and dramatic, right? So when I was thinking about how to structure my next album, I knew that I wanted to use Sogno di Volare as one of the pieces on the album. And the more I thought about it, the more the answer became obvious, that I would take Sogno di Volare and use it as a theme for a much larger work about the history of flight. A work that progresses through the eras and tells the story from those who dreamed of flying to those who actually achieved it. Sogno di Volare keeps coming back across the course of this album as this musical theme that reminds us every time we experience setbacks and every time we're in our darkest hour that we should get back on our feet and that this dream of flight will beckon us to take to the skies once again. So you hear it several times across the entire album. Triplet violins just kind of digging in on this ostinato, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you have the horns, you know, with their soaring lines, which I love so much. But the thing that really glues it all together is the performance of the choir. Now, to bring these choral parts to life, I got to work with one of the great singing groups in the world, the Royal Opera Chorus. The last time I visited London, I went to a performance at Covent Garden, and 78 Royal Opera Chorus singers came out on stage and they sang some Mussorgsky, and I thought, that is the sound that I want. That is the sound of Sogno di Volare.